Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. I will never forget the first It's the Bread testimony that came to me. I realized just this week that I had never really shared in detail this amazing Real Bread testimony. And after all, it was this very first It's the Bread story that led me to my in-depth study of the nutritional benefits of real whole grains and real bread. So today I want to share with you what I discovered from Jean's testimony. Of course, I've changed her name to protect her privacy, but I believe that the information shared today will surely bring hope for your heart. It wasn't even 8 o'clock in the morning when the phone rang. I answered the phone to hear these words, "It's the bread, it's got to be the bread." Jean went on to declare that her cholesterol had dropped 85 points in just 1 month and that all she had changed was her bread. Jean was one of my first Real Bread customers back when I first began to share about making bread from freshly milled flour. She regularly bought bread from me and enjoyed some with every meal. She knew it was the bread that brought this amazing result, as she said she had been trying for 3 years to lower her cholesterol under the care of multiple doctors and various different medications. Nothing had worked. That is, until she added real bread to her diet. Jean's was the first testimony I had heard that was different from the health benefits that I had experienced personally. I didn't have high cholesterol, so this testimony was exciting to me as well as Jean. I began to wonder what nutrients could be in this real bread that could make such a drastic change in such a short amount of time, that could lower one's cholesterol so much in just 1 month. And this is how my passion for studying about bread began. I pulled out my biochemistry and physiology books and any other books on health and nutrition to find the answers. I know that the information I'm about to share will excite you as well. But please understand that nothing in today's podcast is intended as medical advice. Health issues can be complicated and have many contributing factors, and in no way do I intend to oversimplify issues, but simply present nutritional information that is worth understanding. That being said, let's start first with an understanding of what cholesterol is and what it does for our bodies. Cholesterol is a fatty substance that is absolutely essential to our well-being. It is manufactured predominantly by our liver, but is also supplied by the food we eat. Cholesterol is a key building block in the making of new cells and the maintaining of our cells' structure. It is critical in our body's production of vitamins, particularly vitamin D, as well as our important sex and anti-inflammatory hormones. Cholesterol is the precursor of bile acids that are formed in the liver and secreted in the bile to actually help in fat digestion. It is found in abundance in the brain and nerve tissue and is a chief component of our myelin sheath. Cholesterol, in essence, is needed by every cell in our body. So why does it get such a bad rap? Well, in the words of the late nutritionist Adele Davis, it is unfortunately the pig that got stuck in the barn door, and literally stuck it is. Cholesterol is carried from the liver to our blood attached to a protein. This combination is what is known as a lipoprotein. The cholesterol carried from the liver to the blood are actually very large lipoprotein particles. In the blood, these very large particles will need to be broken down into smaller lipoprotein particles known as LDL. The LDL transports cholesterol throughout your body to be used. I think it's important to note here that LDL is not bad cholesterol, as it is so often called, but its elevated levels are simply an indication of its inability to be broken down and the consequential health issues that might arise. The breakdown of LDL requires enzymes as well as other key nutrients to break this cholesterol, fat, protein structure into microscopic particles, allowing it to pass out of the bloodstream into the tissues to be used. If these nutrients are not supplied, the cholesterol literally gets stuck in the blood, unable to be used for its varied important functions, causing elevated cholesterol levels, but worse, a buildup in the walls of your vessels, causing them to become narrowed and hardened. This narrowing and hardening of your blood vessels, which will greatly reduce the supply of blood as well as oxygen getting to every part of your body, can contribute not only to poor circulation, high blood pressure, confusion, premature senility, angina pectoris, but also heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. Now, reduced or lack of blood flow can be caused by many factors, but it is usually related to a blockage in one or more of your heart's arteries. As these fatty deposits build up, restricting your blood flow through your vessels, a deposit may suddenly break away and form a clot that can further restrict flow, leading to a heart attack or stroke. Now, there is no definitive evidence that high cholesterol alone causes heart attacks and strokes, but one thing is for sure, elevated blood cholesterol invariably accompanies these serious health issues. Heart disease is now the leading cause of death in America, but this was not always the case. In fact, high cholesterol was relatively unheard of prior to 1910, and heart disease and heart attacks equally as rare. Sir William Osler, considered one of the most beloved physicians of all time and the first professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins University Medical School in Baltimore, wrote in 1920 that on an average, you would expect to see one patient per hospital per year suffering from heart disease, and yet now it is the most common cause of death. So what has changed? Notice the significant dates of 1910 and 1920. Dr. Wilfred Shute, the world-renowned cardiologist of his day, in 1933, along with his brother Evan, who became one of the first doctors to use large doses of vitamin E to treat heart disease, had this to say about the increase of heart disease. From his book, Vitamin E for Ailing and Healthy Hearts, I quote, "Historically, it is irrefutable that when new and more efficient milling methods were introduced, permitting for the first time the complete stripping away of the highly perishable wheat germ, the diet of Western man lost its only significant source of vitamin E. Flour milling underwent this great change around the turn of the century, and it became general around 1910. The amount of vitamin E in the diet was greatly reduced, and with this loss of this natural anti-clotting agent, coronary thrombosis appeared on the scene." End quote. Mind you, Dr. Schute's books and teaching concerned using vitamin E to treat heart disease. Not at all about milling your own flour to make bread, but nevertheless, he made the connection with commercially milled flour. But while vitamin E is critically important, it was not the only nutrient lost in 1910 when the bran and germ were stripped away from the commercially milled flour. Every nutrient needed to break down fat and cholesterol and get it out of the blood and into our tissues and cells where it could be used can be found in the bran and germ portions of wheat and other whole grains and beans, as well as any unrefined food with oil. Note the key word here, unrefined. So what are these nutrients? Well, at the top of the list is lecithin. Lecithin is a powerful fat emulsifying agent. Like cholesterol, lecithin is continuously produced by our liver, then passes into the intestines with bile, then is absorbed into the blood. In the blood, lecithin allows cholesterol and fats to be broken down into microscopic particles, which can then pass easily through the arterial walls and into our tissues and cells where the cholesterol can now be used. So lecithin, in essence, helps transport fat and cholesterol out of the blood and into the cells where it can be used. While doing its job, lecithin causes an increase in the production of bile acids, which is actually made from cholesterol, thereby reducing the amount of cholesterol in the blood. Besides its emulsifying role, lecithin is part of the structural makeup of every cell in our bodies, particularly those of the brain and nerves. I hope you're noticing, as I am, the divine design of our bodies. Lecithin is found in abundance in the very cells where cholesterol is needed the most, our brains and nerves. Now, although lecithin can be produced by the liver, it requires a continuous supply of specific nutrients, and a deficiency of any one of these nutrients limits its production. Thankfully, lecithin is also found in all unrefined foods containing fats and oils. Although diets low in fat and cholesterol are often recommended as treatment for high cholesterol, these diets actually restrict the very foods that provide us with every nutrient needed to utilize fat and cholesterol. And many have found that restricting these foods produce the opposite of what was hoped for, an actual increase in cholesterol levels. Whole grains and beans, and particularly wheat, as well as eggs, are excellent sources of lecithin, as well as the essential nutrients the body needs to make lecithin. So what are those nutrients? Inositol, found in the bran of wheat, and choline, vitamin B6, and the amino acid methionine, found in the wheat germ, are absolutely essential for the production of lecithin by the liver. So, I found the answer to my question. What is in this real bread made from freshly milled flour that could bring someone's cholesterol down 85 points in just 1 month? Well, the answer is lecithin, inositol, choline, vitamin B6, and methionine, necessary to metabolize fat and cholesterol and make it usable by the body, are all provided by the bran and germ of wheat found in this real bread made from freshly milled flour. Genes is not the only cholesterol testimony we have heard over the years, but actually one of many. And one enthusiastic customer actually sent me his blood work results showing an overall drop in cholesterol of 100 points and a 99-point drop in his triglycerides. Again, in just 1 month of making real bread a part of his everyday eating. Psalm 104:15 tells us that God has given us bread to strengthen and nourish the heart, but only real bread, God's perfect provision with all the nutrients needed. So you see, there is hope for our hearts. Thank you for listening today. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.